Hi, welcome to Introductory GIS EV2502 or 5505 for postgraduate students for the Cairns campus. My name is Dr. Karen Joyce and I'm going to be your main lecturer and also subject coordinator for SP2 this year. The purpose of this video is to really just go through some of the introductory administrative aspects of the subject, so that way when you come to the lecture on Friday, you won't need to go through all of those semi-boring kind of bits, and we can get straight into work and look at some of the interesting aspects of what we're going to do throughout the semester. The main part of this really is to go through the Learn JCU site, as that's going to be where you access all of your learning resources and of course where you submit your assessments and that sort of thing as well. So let's go on over and have a look at the layout of the site to make sure you know how to access all of your resources for the semester. Here's our basic Learn JCU site, which is probably quite similar to the other subjects that you're taking. What I'd like to do here is just to go through the menu items on the left-hand side, just to make you aware of where bits and pieces are. Obviously, this is our home page here. Then you've got announcements, and usually once a week I'll put up an announcement, and sometimes a little bit more frequently if there's information that I need to share with you outside of the lecture or practical time slots. If you go into the About This Subject area, you'll see the subject information document. So that's really important for you to download and have a read through. A lot of that information is contained elsewhere in Learn JCU as well, but that's the official document there. You've got your lecture and practical time slots here, and you will need to be signing up for a practical time. You only need to attend one practical for the week. If you do want to change at any stage, you need to let us know, because those practicals usually fill up and we don't want to have an oversupply of students in any particular practical session. But all the pracs are exactly the same, and so that's why they're all repeat pracs, so you just need to attend the one. The lecture is at 3 till 5 on Friday afternoons, and we do expect that you attend the practical, we do expect that you attend that lecture. It is likely to be recorded, and we do make every attempt to record it, but we can't guarantee that it will be recorded. And in any case, I usually teach in quite an interactive manner and with lots of sort of hands-on type activities within the lecture time slot. So it's not really something that a recorded lecture is 100% useful for. You'll find my contact information under contacts, and our two tutors for the semester are James Milner and Nicholas Eunice Cardenas, and they'll be available during the practical session times. Under Learning Resources, you'll find some FAQs, so it's really important that you have a look through those. If you've got any questions at all, you might find that it's already been asked and answered here, and also a range of different online resources. I don't use a hard copy text for this class. That keeps costs down for students, and with the technology changing constantly, it's sort of something that the text would need to be updated every year or so anyway, so we like to use a lot of online resources as well. Now, weekly materials will be the place that you most likely come quite frequently throughout the semester. So at the moment, we've got the weekly schedule up there, which gives you an indication of the topics for the lectures and practicals that we'll be going throughout the semester. Just a note here that there's no practical held in week 1. So we will start with the first lecture on the first Friday of week 1, and then the first set of practicals will commence in week 2. Now, in this section, every Monday, you'll have materials that become unlocked. So at the moment, you'll see you've just got your schedule up there, and week by week you'll get a new folder of materials that is relevant to that particular week. And in that, you're going to have a quiz that you need to take on a weekly basis. Now, a combination of all these quizzes throughout the semester are going to add up to 10% of your grade, which brings us to the assessment overview. So here's these pre-class questions. So they need to be submitted before the lecture, so on a weekly basis by midday, and they add up to 10% of your overall class grade. The other assessment items that we have are based around combining the lecture materials with the practical materials. So our first assessment item there is essentially project-based work that we'll be working on in your practical sessions, but you will submit it via Learn JCU. It's worth 15% of your overall grade and is a combination of short answer type questions. That's done on an individual basis. Assignment 2 is a group assignment, and it's all around problem-based analysis and a scenario building type situation. So it's a real world situation that we'll be working on some spatial analysis for to answer some questions. And it's up to your group. You'll be working in groups of 3, and it's up to your group to be able to solve that problem and present solutions there. So that's worth 35%, and that's due much later in the semester, and that's really the focus of all the practical sessions throughout, or most of the practical sessions throughout the semester there. You'll also have a final exam, which will be scheduled in the central timetable, and that's worth 40% of your overall grade. So the actual practical exercises will be available in the weekly materials area, and they will start to become available during week 1. Now, just a note on any late submissions and extensions. So if you are looking for an extension to any piece of assessment, you will need to apply for that in writing in at least 48 hours in advance of the due date. And that's 48 working hours. So if something's due on a Monday, don't send a request for an extension on the Saturday. So if you have a doctor's certificate, just get the doctor to write on the certificate how long you were unable to work for. So I don't need to know any information about the particular illness at all. I just need to know how long you're unable to work, and then that will be the number of days that you get the extension for. So if you submit your work late without any prior written approval from me, there will be a penalty of 10% per day on that item. So over back to the left-hand side, if we look at the discussion board here, so this is really important if you have any technical challenges at all with the class. So rather than email me or one of the tutors, you need to post any questions you have here to the discussion board, and it's up to you all to monitor this as well and hopefully help each other out if you're able to answer each other's questions. So myself and the tutors will be aiming to look through the discussion board, but we do rely on you all to help each other out. Now, it's really important to post here because not only does it mean that you're going to have, around about 70 other students looking at it and potentially helping you out, you'll get a much faster answer than if you email either me or one of the other tutors. And this means also that the answer that's given will be available and recorded essentially for other students. So before you post your question in the first place, have a look to see if somebody has already asked the same question and if it's been answered there as well. Of course, we're always available to answer questions during the lecture and the practical time as well. But if you do email me with a technical related question, I will direct you straight back to the discussion board rather than answering it through email as well. So please just use email for any confidential related questions or problems as well. You'll be able to find your grades and as far as your assessment goes in the My Grades area, which I imagine is also the same as what you've got for your other subjects as well. So that's really just a quick introduction to what we see in the Learn JCU interface. You will be needing to use it on a weekly basis, so please make sure that you keep checking in, particularly keeping in touch with those weekly materials. You'll find also in those weekly materials that I do have a to-do list, so that will help you gauge exactly where you're at in terms of what needs to be done and the knowledge that needs to be gained as you go through each week.